guys, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. So I was debating whether or not we were going to do this stream because I was like, do I want to open a can of worms? Do I not? What's going on? But in fairness to a story, I always say that I have to present all sides of a story, right? And if someone comes forward from something I'm covering and says that they have information about what's going on behind the scenes that I don't know about or could be impacting what's going on, I have a due diligence, I believe, to tell people about it. Especially given the fact that Matt Baier was given a platform on this channel to share his side of the story in relation to his relationship with Amber Portwood and detailed aspects of people from Teen Mom, along with discussing his time on Marriage Boot Camp. Given the fact that he came onto this channel so many times and said a lot of different stuff and got very enmeshed with the community here, I almost feel like it would be a disservice not to share this because it's important. So I want to start from what happened on my end to where we're at today. So everything with Matt was kind of messy all the way around. I was always kept things very professional with him and tried to my best allow him the space to share his stories without crossing boundaries with him where it would be I don't even know. I didn't want him to get too comfortable, let's just say. I just don't have this thing about people getting too comfy in a position on a channel, okay? Because then I can't be objective in what I'm doing. So I started noticing some indiscretions or some discrepancies and things that he would say to me and then things he would say on another channel. Many of my subscribers noticed that he seemed to be playing both sides. For instance, he would say, Amber is, this is bad and, releasing this video and audio is good. But then on another channel, he would say, don't release it, don't release it, don't release it. This is horrible. Why would she do that? That kind of stuff. And it got to a point where I got so many messages from people. They were like, well, why is he saying this over here and then saying this over here? It doesn't add up. So it all came to a head because I started putting some things together and I caught him because on a day he contacted me and he said, Katie, my ex-wife just showed up at my house and she is livid and she says that some woman, your moderator, is telling people that I asked to get money from her. She says that I'm going around and asking people for $700. And I was like, well, that's weird. Why would she say that? And he had this very elaborate story, and he said that his ex-wife was angry and blah, 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 blah. So I trying to work through all the different sources, and I ended up talking to the moderator that he told me. He insisted that he never asked for money, but then my moderator sent me all of the emails between the two of him, and and I'm not going to share them because she asked me not to, but she's still around floating somewhere on YouTube. Her name is Sandra. She sent me all of the screenshots and he absolutely asked her to loan him $700. And when he realized that she had told somebody else about it and he was about to get caught, he tried to trap her and make her the bad person, which ultimately erupted into this massive mess, okay? So he did, he absolutely, I saw the screenshots. He said he needed $700. He said that his car was on the verge of being repossessed. He also told my moderator that he still had checks coming in from MTV, that he was working for them, which was not what he told me. There was just a lot of discrepancies between what he was telling all the different people. And as I was putting it all together, I was just like, this is messy. So imagine my surprise when, at that point, I told him, like, I don't want to deal with this anymore. This is messy. You are playing both sides. You're causing drama. You are taking advantage of people. I don't want to deal with this, okay? And so I was like going to be done with it. But then Jennifer Baier shows up in my DMs, and I wasn't going to say anything, but she is adamant that she really needs to share something with people. So one of the things that he had repeatedly told me was that he was not the father of Jennifer's son, Christian. Okay, there's like a baby involved. And she says, absolutely, Matt is the father. They planned this child together. She says that she left him she was 5 months pregnant, and he has never denied in private that this is his child, and that any statements that he isn't the father is simply not true. So he does have another child, according to Jennifer. Okay. I promised I would only say that. Like, I'm not supposed to say anything else because she wants to protect him because he's an innocent person in all of this. But the biggest thing that she said to me, and she's also said because she recently filed for divorce. That's right. They're not even divorced yet. He repeatedly said that he was divorced from her. Well, she says that's not true. We're just separated. And she said she just started the process and filed for divorce independently. She has to pay for everything, she said. And so because of that, she's asked me to not share any screenshots, but she did give me permission to share with you what she told me via Messenger, okay? And I did verify this for this. So she says, Matt is a liar and a scam artist. As I said before, I have nothing to gain by saying this. I have a son by him, and if it wasn't true. So I explained to her that he told me a number of different things. He told me that Jennifer had an addiction, that she was addicted to heroin. He also told me that she had taken out a bunch of loans and that a number of judgments that appeared on his records were actually hers. And so I asked her, I said, he told me you were on heroin. And she said, I can't say that I'm surprised he would say that. In the past, as well as we all have a past, she said, I have a short-lived issue with pills, opiates, but I got help I needed and have been clean and sober since 2012. She says, I had a run-in with the law a couple years ago, and that was something completely different, and it was a huge mistake on my part, and I take full responsibility for it. She said, I'm open and honest about all of those things. She said, this is not the first time he has accused me of this. When he needed to borrow money from my family, she said, from my family, when he needed to borrow money from them, he told my family that I was on heroin. That's the kind of scumbag she said he is. He lied to them. He told a lie about his wife like that so that he could basically con my parents out of money so that he could support his habit and gambling addiction. They knew he was lying, though. Something like that is easy enough to prove with a drug test. He did that to me all throughout our marriage. She said that she said something that was a problem at the time, he used it to his advantage to tell stories and to tell lies to get people to feel sorry for him, and he would get what he wanted from people. These are all things that he does. He tells stories to make people, mainly women, sympathize with him, and anything that he feels will make him more interesting and anything that will make people listen for longer. So she basically said he'll say anything, regardless of whether or not it's true, as long as he has an audience. She said if you pay attention to the stories that he tells, he doesn't even realize that they don't match up. Or some things he just told you the day before he is completely different now. And I told her that happened all the time. There was a couple times where he would tell me something one day, and then I would ask him, and I said, oh, well, you told me this yesterday. And he said, oh, no, well, I did? I don't remember that. Oh, I did? I must not. I must have been wrong. I heard that a lot. And I said, oh, yeah, I heard him say, oh, did I say that? And she said, I hear things like that a lot, Katie. And it makes me so furious that the things that he does, the lows that he will stoop to scam and con people out of money. He won't get a job because he says he's too high profile, which is a joke. A huge issue while we were still living together was the fact that he wouldn't try and get a job, and he said that people wouldn't hire him and that he was too good to work a normal 9 to 5. Lying, cheating, and stealing from people, especially women, is something that he's been doing for at least 15 years, and he's been telling the same story for years. So, she says that he wrote a book years ago, and that during an interview he actually did more than 13 years ago. She said that he wrote a book under the pseudonym Gray Baker, and she said, and if you listen to this podcast through it, you will see what I'm talking about. You'll have proof that he has been scamming people long before Teen Mom ever started. And then she sent it to me, which I didn't listen to yet. But then she said, I said to her, so one thing I asked her about was, I said, Matt told me that he had been in communication with various people from MTV. And he said that he had connections with these different people. And she said, when we were together, he was never in communication with anyone from MTV as far as I knew. And he said, and it would make no sense why he would be in communication with them now. It's all just a lie. He told people so he can sound relevant. He was always saying like he had auditions and he was going to be cast in a show, and MTV producers wanted him for a show, or TLC would want him for a show, but then nothing would ever follow through. And then I said, is he still using? Because there was a couple times when I spoke with him before going on where he seemed a little bit out of it. And she said he was actively using the entire time that we were together, which was a problem with me and my family, since I had a past, especially my parents, thought it was wrong, and he had this sort of thing around me and my kids. So then another thing that he told me was that he was a professional poker player, and that that was how he made his money. And then she said, well, you can look that up. And so when I looked up his professional poker player winnings, I noticed that he had only won like $5,000 over the course of 2 years or 3 years. And she says, yeah, does that look like a poker player? LOL. And yes, I had. And then he accused her of getting loans out in his name. She said that that's not true. Those were his. And then I asked her like why she was coming forward, and she said, as I've told Matt on many occasions, I really feel like he needs to get help. He needs to speak to a therapist and talk about the issues and insecurities he has as a human being. I'm not trying to come off as some innocent victim here. I met Matt in the most normal way. He seemed very charming, and he was very intellectual and can be very sincere. The place I went wrong was not believing what people said about him. I was very naive. I thought that all the stories written about him were wrong and that he could not be as bad of a person as he was portrayed. Matt does have a good heart, and I believe he does want to be a good person, but time and time again, he continues to make the same mistake and hurt people, and he lies and cheats and steals. He said to me he would have stayed with Amber and just dealt with her issues, but she found out he was cheating in the lie detector. Stuff happened and she wouldn't stay with him. So that's when he packed up and moved here to Las Vegas. I don't regret the time I was with Matt because I have my son and he is a true blessing. That came out of all of this. I should have believed the stories about Matt, and I didn't, and that was my mistake. Can't change it now, but I truly hope that the same thing doesn't happen to another woman. But as long as there is Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, or YouTube, and any other internet outlet that he can communicate through. I have a feeling he'll keep doing what he does, and women stop and fall for it all the time. She said that she wanted to come forward because of on an Instagram live, I talked about what happened with Sandra. And she said, after I watched your live you did a few days ago wanting to clear the lady's name that Matt tried to borrow money from, I think her name was Sandy, that's when I messaged you. Enough is enough. He has a million excuses to explain everything. And he would have so many false things to say about me and say he has proof of the person I am, because that's what he does. But I've never tried to gain anything from him or this relationship. If you want me to be completely honest, I am embarrassed to say that I married him because of his actions and the things that he does. It is embarrassing. I feel for my son. It's sickening to know he has himself convinced that he is a victim of the world and that he's just a good person, a good man, that these things just keep happening to him, that he was the victim in the same things over and over and over again. And I said, why do you want me to share your side? And she said, I don't want people to think, oh, why is this woman coming forward after all this time? What is she looking to gain? She is just like Matt. And I'm not looking to gain anything from this. I'm not looking for some clout or 15 minutes of fame. I'm truly grossed out by his actions and feel bad for people who fall into his web. I think people by now should know that from the endless people that have come forward and told the type of person he is, I don't think there's much of an excuse anymore it's been years now and everyone should know the type of person that he is. And I said, do you think he was manipulating people on YouTube? And she said, yes, absolutely. He also said that he believes that he uses other channels. He said, I think he uses her and other people. He was doing it to gain access to people and to women, to have a platform, to be important, she said. She said that he sends photos to women all the time. She's heard of him sending photos to people that are inappropriate. And then she said the only person that she'd heard from that he borrowed the $700 that he asked to borrow was from Sandra. So she said the next time I heard from him, I talked to him, I asked him what that was about. I told him that the things that he was doing were effed up and he needed to get his shit together. And then he flew off the handle, demanded where I heard that from, and then it turned into this whole big deal. And this is when everything between me and Matt ended, because I figured it out. Sandra gave me screenshots, and then she's coming to me and telling me this happened too. And I said, I told him I didn't want to be a part of any of this YouTube stuff and that he was going on, so I didn't talk to him for a week or so after that. And then she said that after she realized that she said she didn't talk to him for about a week, and then she said, well, that's I said, he tells me that he never talks to you. And she said, well, that's funny. I have a whole conversation just from yesterday because he wanted me to come over so he could talk, and I didn't answer him right back, and he flew off the handle. So I sent him pictures of the divorce papers, and then he changed his tune, and I can send you pictures of that. I don't know how to do that, she said. And then she said, she also said that when I talked last night, that Matt began sending her threatening messages. She said that she wanted to make sure that everyone understood it. She doesn't want Matt to do this to any more people. She doesn't want to cause any damage to her divorce, but she really just wants people to know that Matt is a sick individual. She said he is a narcissist. He thinks he is more important than he really is since he has began speaking on those 2 different YouTube channels. He now thinks that he is relevant again and thinks he has so much power. I think he's probably told you that he has lawyers and that you don't even know the damage that he could do to you. But the fact of it is that he doesn't, and he couldn't even afford a lawyer if he wanted to. Matt is a small, scared, and insignificant man. He bullies people and tries to intimidate them, and I'm just really sick of it. He really thinks that the public loves him now again and that it's important and that he's important, and then that grosses me out. I'm just happy I got away from him, and I just don't want this to be a part of my life anymore. Somebody needs to put him in his place and truly expose him for what he is, and that's what she said. So this is his wife, Jennifer, who he married after he was with Amber. So this is the one that he literally left Amber, met her, and that was Jennifer. So we've heard a lot of Matt's side. This is obviously Jennifer's side. I don't think, I was debating, do I talk to Matt about this? And I was like, you know what? I didn't talk to her first, so I'm just going to give her this platform. Again, these are all her allegations. These are her opinions. I'm not claiming that any of this is true. I'm just stating that this is what Jennifer told me, that she is concerned that he has now got some power and influence and will use that to manipulate others. I will say that as soon as I exposed him on Instagram, I suddenly had all these different sock accounts following and sending me messages. When a bunch of my subscribers reached out to me and said that he had been sending them, that was the other thing. Some of my subscribers messaged me, four of them, that he was sending them inappropriate pictures and messages on Snapchat. And when I shared that on Instagram, I then suddenly got a message from someone who had my email address, which I don't give out. It's not the email. It's not an email address that is connected to the channel. It's not my work email address, my personal email address. And they were stating that they found my email address on Reddit, and they claimed that another one of my moderators put it on Reddit. And at that point, I knew it was Matt that was using this person, claiming to be this woman, saying that that's not true and that these women are lying, because there's no way that woman would have my email address. She would have had to have it from Matt, or she was Matt. So I am absolutely, this is the deal, you guys. You can form your opinions on what you want. I, again, will only say that, sometimes we will hope and pray that somebody will actually turn a leaf and become a different person. I think that change is possible for anyone. I don't think that anyone has to stay in a pattern of this type of behavior. And I think a lot of people, we're always hoping that someone can not be the crap that we think they are. You know what I mean? You want to believe that there's this good person in people. And sometimes people just are crappy people, or they're sick, or they're in addictions, or, doing other things. And I thought he was on the surface, he is very charming and he is a very nice person. But I will say that he did tell me things that didn't add up repeatedly. And I would just caution any of you guys, based on what Jennifer is telling me, that if he has asked you for money or other things, just be careful, be cautious. Jennifer is in the middle of a divorce now with him. She's filed soon, and there's a child involved, and it's just messy. So anything that you sort of hear from him, take it with a grain of salt. This is the same man that went on a channel and said that I was overreacting for statements that Amber Portwood made, but then was the same person that actually said, you need to call the police. You need to do that. It's a threat. He also told me he was going to file a defamation lawsuit against Amber. It's whatever he needs to say in order to be relevant. And I will not be inviting him back on this channel. I have learned a very big lesson here. And I am going to allow you guys to do what you want to do with this. Again, this is Jennifer's side of things. He has had his side of things. And you can tell me in comments what you think about this. Do you think he's changed? Do you believe Jennifer? Do you believe the Matt that was on the channel? He had a lot of really great things to say. He seemed very well spoken. Is that Matt, or is it the Matt that Jennifer's talking about? Let me know in the comments below. Bye, guys.